Hello there, and a very warm welcome to Chazingdra Chats, the show where we take a stroll through the life stories of people in the Pokemon community, discovering the 6 Pokemon on their dream team along the way. I'm Charlie Merriman, Merri by name, Merri by nature, otherwise known as Chazingdra, a host and commentator for the Pokemon Video Game Championship Series, and a content creator, and this week, as every week, I very much hope my guests and I can make your day merry, because I have the pleasure of being joined by THEPOKÉRAF. Raf, how you doing?
I'm good, thank you, brother. How are you?
Oh, thanks so much for asking. I'm doing very well. I'm excited to have you on the show. It's been a little bit delayed. We've been liaising for a little while, so it's great to finally be able to chat now.
Definitely. I'm very, very honoured to be here as well. And I'm glad that we finally managed to make this happen. So yeah, it's going to be a good time, definitely. 100%.
And also, you know, as a fellow UK Pokemon content creator, it's a shame that we haven't crossed paths in person yet. And I feel like there are a couple of occasions where that could have happened at Worlds in London in 2022 and also in Anaheim in Worlds 2025. But alas, maybe one day. I'm sure we will.
Maybe one day. I've been looking around. I've been looking for you. Don't try and hide away from me. I'm going to be coming to find you very soon. But yes, definitely. I'm sure we'll cross paths in person rather than virtually. But yes, I agree.
Look forward to that. And for anyone who's not so familiar with you, Raf, can you give a brief introduction to yourself?
Yes, so my name is THEPOKÉRAF, or you can call me Raf. I'm a British content creator and I focus on making Pokemon anime content. Initially, I did start off making content about the Pokemon games and anime, but as time went past, I started to focus more on anime topics such as speculation, theories, trivia content, top 10s, all of that usual content that you would expect from a PokeTuber, but just all akin to the Pokemon anime. And yeah, I also do episode reviews as well, and that's pretty much everything in relation to what I cover on my channel.
Very nice. Yeah, as I mentioned to you before we started recording, I'm someone who's not so familiar with the anime, so you will be my go-to source for all of the anime information. Thank you, I'm sure you do. Listen, I want to take a deeper dive, so shall we do this?
Let's do it.
Great, let's get to know you better, let's get to know the 6 Pokemon you're choosing for your dream team. What we're going to kick things off with, very appropriately, is how you first got into Pokemon with episode 23.
Wow, okay, so this is going to be very ironic in one way. However, I will try my best to explain it in the best way possible. So, I don't know what I was doing. I was a young kid, just in my bedroom, and then one day I found one of the old videotapes that you could put into the video player, and it was to do with Pokemon. Back then I knew about Pokemon because I recognized Ash Ketchum, Pikachu. I had a Pikachu plush for myself as well, but I was very intrigued to find out what was on this tape, because before I would only ever watch Power Rangers on the videotape. So seeing this Pokemon videotape, I was like, okay, cool, maybe I found the jackpot, I'm in a gold mine now. So I played the tape, and it was to do with episode 23, the Tower of Terror, and this is the episode where Ash, Misty go to the Tower of Terror and they encounter Haunter and a Ghastly. Now, in relation to this episode, it wasn't more of the fact that, oh, this was my favourite episode. It actually made me cry. And it's quite funny how it happened. It wasn't in relation to what the Pokemon looked like or what they were doing or the fact that Ash actually turned into a ghost himself. It was more about the fact that when I was playing the videotape, on the player there is a button that you can use to rewind the footage. And if you double press the button, it does it by per frame. And as I was doing that, the noises of the Pokemon were going into like a noise like this. And I just started bawling my eyes out, mate. I was just crying and crying and crying because I was scared. I was like, oh my God, what's happened? Is it broken? Do they actually sound like this? And that is how I actually got into Pokemon. It wasn't by picking up one of the random games or, I don't know, maybe just collecting the cards. It was actually all thanks to the Pokemon anime, and it was my first experience crying my eyes out over this TV show. And I don't know what happened. Since then, I just decided to stick with it. I watched more episodes and I made sure not to press that button twice again, otherwise I'll go through that same traumatic experience. But that was my way of getting into the Pokemon franchise. And as time went by, I started to learn more about the franchise and the trading cards, the Pokemon games. I had the Pokemon games. My first Pokemon game was Pokemon Red, and I had my Game Boy at that time, so I was playing it in that period of time when these episodes were being released on the videotapes. But it was actually the anime and that episode that got me into the franchise the most, because I was just so intrigued to find out what happened when I pressed play again. Everything sounded normal, and I was like, I want to see if I can hear these noises again in future episodes or future videotapes, and I just stuck by it, and that's how I got into the franchise, really.
I mean, there's a world where that experience puts you off Pokemon for life, so I'm very glad that it had the opposite experience.
Exactly. I was glad as well. I was glad as well because I could have maybe diverted into a completely different franchise. But yeah, Pokemon set the bar high for me at that moment, shall we say, and that's how I got into the franchise, yeah.
It's great to hear you as well talking about VHS's videotapes, and I'm well aware that a good number of people watching and listening might not actually be aware of what they are. But yeah, the precursor to DVDs, which is precursor to streaming, etc. Big chunky thing that you put in a player attached to your TV, and had to rewind literal tape that was contained within those cassettes.
Those were good times.
Exactly.
Those were good times. No, I miss those times now. Like, don't get me wrong, DVDs and of course we have streaming now, but having that physical copy of something and knowing that you can have an incredible replay value, just putting it into the DVD not DVD player, the video player, and just embracing that nostalgia and wholesome moment. Yeah, I miss those times.
It takes me right back. But I guess the question is, what do you think it was about that rewind function that made you cry so much? Was it because it was scaring you, the noises that
it was scaring me, yes, definitely. I remember my mum running in the room thinking something happened to me, and I was just like shouting at the TV, and she realised that I had the rewind function going on, because in the top left corner or the right corner, I can't remember back then, it had the rewind symbols, and she started laughing, and I was just crying my eyes out, and she tells me the story to this day about how I actually got into it, and I was like, wow, it was all because of that. I thought it would have been maybe because I was just collecting the merch or something, but it was all because Haunter and Ghastly decided to make me cry. So it's funny. I look back at it now and I'm thinking to myself, wow. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like both of those Pokemon too, but it was more of the fact that, oh my gosh, they scared me so much, and that's what got me into it. And I like telling people this story because it's I think it's something unique, but at the same time it's something to laugh about later on, because we're here now, and it's something that's just hilarious that happened at that time.
I wonder if, had it been any Pokemon other than the Ghost Pokemon, whether you would have been quite as scared. But, I mean, that remains to be seen. But it will now take us into what's going to be the first Pokemon on your Dream Team, Raf. So as a reminder, the aim here is not for Raf to build the most competitively viable team in any way. He can do that if he so chooses. It's the Pokemon that have been the most special to Raf over the years, and he can define that for himself in whichever way he wants. He's decided on them in advance. I have no idea what they are. So tell us, Raf, what's going to be Pokemon number one?
Well, I'll get the most basic one out of the way. It's my channel mascot. It's Charizard. Of course, everybody loves Charizard, basic, yada, yada, yada. But I think I like Charizard a lot because from my first initial look at this Pokemon when I got Pokemon Red, and I looked at the cover art and I was like, wow, this bad boy looks cool. It looks like a fire-breathing dragon and I want him. So when I played that version of the game, of course, I chose Charmander as my starter Pokemon. And as time passed by, I just grew so much love for this Pokemon. It's so cool. Like, the design is fire, no pun intended. It can fly, it can breathe fire as well. Ash's Charizard played a huge inspiration on my liking for this Pokemon too, simply because of the arc it went through in the anime, how it went from being such a disobedient Pokemon to then later on becoming a powerhouse and helping Ash in some of his most viable battles. And then of course later on, as the Pokemon developed within the franchise, we saw it got its Mega Evolutions and its Gigantamax form. My favourite Mega Evolution is Mega Charizard X. It's the one that I have on my my banner with my own profile and my character, because that is my mascot and that's how I roll. I love that guy. And even in certain projects as well, I've managed to implement my personal experience growing up loving Charizard within certain parts of videos that have allowed me to express it in such a different way compared to me saying, oh yeah, it's a cool design, I like the way it looks, blah, blah, blah. Like, I try to implement different things and unique elements that can make people understand that it relates to my own personal story. So yeah, that's the main Pokemon. That's my first Pokemon on my team, and I know it's a very basic Pokemon. Shout out to all the Charizard lovers. If you are part of them, then I support you as well. Thank you so much. But that's my boy. That's my number one. That's my goat.
Absolutely. I think, you know, the heart wants what it wants. You see that fire-breathing dragon when you were... Well, how old would you have been when you started playing Pokemon Red?
I think I was 5. Maybe 4 or 5, around that age, yeah. And it's interesting as well, because when I was playing the game, part of the sticker had peeled off, so I didn't actually get to see the top left-hand corner of what Charizard's full design looked like until I actually played the game. And back then, the sprites were so different now compared to the graphics that we have now and how they've transitioned into like incredible style, incredible animation and graphics. Back then I was thinking, oh wow, I want to see what the rest of this Pokemon looks like. And thankfully, when I played the game, I got to see it. So I was happy about that. Yeah, I was happy.
Can you imagine if when it fully evolved, you were like, you know what, it was going so well, but that top left-hand corner of the Pokemon really lets it down. It's a no from me.
Darn it, literally.
Incredible. Well, Charizard, welcome to Raf's Dream Team, and everybody, if you're enjoying this chat with the PokéRaf, please do like the video and subscribe to the channel. It would mean a huge amount. And there's approaching 90 episodes of this podcast at the time of recording, so there's bound to be something for everyone. But we've got so much more conversation to have, so we will fire spin from there now into what you learned after hitting 10,000 subscribers on YouTube and your summer in the city.
Okay, so Summer in the City was the first convention that I went to and where I got to meet a lot of my online friends, shall we say, at that event. Back in the PokeTubing era, there were a lot of Skype conversations before Discord came around, and there were a lot of forums that we used to use, and that's how I managed to connect with loads of friends and make new friendships. I hit 10,000 subscribers at a very interesting point in my life. I was studying at university. I was going through a breakup, and at that time, Pokemon and YouTube were sort of my escape. I was making content, I was talking about all the different video games and anime topics, and during that time, I noticed that the more time I was putting into YouTube, because I wasn't occupied with other things as much, I was growing quite fast. And the good thing about it was that I'll go to university, I'll do all my lectures and I'll do all my labs, and then afterwards I'll go home and I have such a long period of time to focus on content, and then the next day would repeat again. Thankfully, I didn't have to start too early for my university classes, because for my degree we started in the afternoon, then we finished a little bit later in the evening, and that was perfect for me. I could just drive home, have my dinner, have my shower, deal with a couple of personal bits, and then I could crack on with YouTube and do that. But when I went to Summer in the City in, oh gosh, I need to remember the year now. I think it was 2018 or 2000, was it 2018? Yeah, I think it was 2018. I might be wrong with that, but I'm trying my best to remember it. That's when I managed to meet my friends for the first time in the Pokemon community, and also on one of the days of the events, I hit 10,000 subscribers. And I was telling my friends prior to that how I was working so hard to try and get as many videos out so that during the weekend I didn't have to worry about making content, because I went to spend time with them. I'm meeting them all for the first time. We're going to this amazing convention. We're exploring new things. And I was coming out of my comfort zone, because when I was growing up, excuse me, I was quite shy to talk about Pokemon, because I was worried that people would judge me for liking a kids franchise. And we'll probably elaborate a little bit more on that later. But to be in a space where there were so many other creators of different ages as well, where we could talk about Pokemon so openly, agree on certain things, maybe disagree on a couple of things as well, but more of the fact that we could just talk and not have to worry about anything. And that made that trip very special for me, because we're all together as a group. We're going around the convention. We're talking about Pokemon. We're grateful that Pokemon brought us all together to meet at this convention and talk about it and just have a lovely weekend together at this event that we're all at. And I hit 10,000 subscribers that weekend, and it made me appreciate it a lot, because when I was making Pokemon content, I would always fear that, should I really upload this video? I don't want people to judge me. What if someone from my school sees it? Or what if someone looks at the video and thinks, oh my gosh, why is he talking about this? But it taught me a lot. It taught me not to care too much about what people think. If you have a passion for something, if it's brought you happiness, and if you've met someone through that plays a big part in your life later on down the line, then just go for it. And that's my motto to this day. If you ever have a passion for something, just go for it. You don't know until you try. Because originally, I wasn't even making Pokemon content before that. Before, I was focusing on like different franchises. And then when it came to Pokemon, that's where I was like, right, I want to do this. I want to see where it goes, and I want to give it my all. And during that time, I managed to meet so many amazing people. Some of the friends to this day are still some of my closest as well. And we meet up when we can. We travel. And it's just amazing how one thing can just branch out into something else. So it taught me a lot. It taught me the fact that, one, I was so proud and happy that I managed to reach that milestone. 10,000 subscribers back in that day was like, wow, that's huge. And I didn't even think I was going to even get past 100 subscribers. So I'm super grateful for that. But being able to do it with my closest friends around me at the same time just made it such a magical experience. And for that, I'm just forever grateful, really. And that event solidified my love for the Pokemon franchise, and it taught me so much about how I should just come out of my comfort zone, not care about what people think, do things that make you happy. And that's how I quote unquote evolved into the POKÉRAF to this day. Yeah.
That's fantastic that you had that support around you, and I think, you know, we'll all, and it's a thing that comes up time and time again in the podcast, we'll sympathise with that feeling, those years of, should I be doing this, should I be professing my love for this, when maybe it's not seen as quote-unquote cool, etc. And it's wonderful that you reached that milestone, of course, but I guess we're skipping over here. At what point you started YouTube, and how long you've been doing it before you reached 10,000 subscribers?
Oh, wow. It's time to get the time machine out. Okay, so I first started YouTube when I was in sixth form, and that was in 2012.
And just for the benefit of anyone who doesn't know what that is, sixth form is sort of your final 2 years of schooling in the UK, so approaching the age of 18-ish.
Yes. So I initially started making FIFA football content and Call of Duty shooting game content, and that's because those were the two games that I would play alongside Pokemon on the Xbox. And I'm sure everyone who's watching this from the British community and the American community or around the world can understand how fun those games were back in that day. So I was like, okay, you know what? I've got a capture card. I can make a YouTube account. Let's see how it goes. I could be the next Optic Hex, maybe with the trick shots, or the next big FIFA player. And it actually started well. I got my first 100 subscribers, and I was like, wow, okay, I might be building on something big here. But then I noticed that during my studies, I wasn't able to commit to it as much. And because there was so many different innovations coming out for those games, like the DLC, map packs, etc., I wasn't able to keep up with it. I was only able to actually play it in my free time with my friends. So I actually decided to scrap that channel. And I was thinking to myself, what channel could I make about YouTube that I have such a passion for? What topic could I focus on? And then it clicked in my head. I was like, oh my gosh, I've been a Pokemon fan for years. Why don't I just talk about Pokemon? So X and Y came about in 2000 and... Oh my gosh, when was X and Y? 2013 or 2016? One of those 2 dates.
13,
I'm probably wrong.
I think, yeah.
It was 13, yeah, because that's when I made the channel in March, correct. And I decided to just focus straight away on my passion for that, talking about the games and the anime, because that's when the XY series was airing as well simultaneously. And that's where the come up began. I just started focusing on Pokemon content. I was collabing with a few creators. I was doing a couple of live streams here and there, making all the speculation topics, covering all the news. And it was a very exciting time, because that's when that generation of Pokemon came out and everybody was like, wow, Gen 6 is here. Oh my gosh, it's something different. We've got the 3DS era kicking in, and it was a very busy and fun time for Pokemon. So I was like, right, I want to try and jump in on this. I want to try and see if I could build my name for myself. And yeah, that's how I started it, really. So I had quite a change in terms of the content drift. It was originally to do with football and Call of Duty, but then I was like, right, I want to go back to my roots of the biggest passion that I have a lot for, and that was Pokemon. And I've been here ever since, really. I've kind of evolved into focusing more now on the anime compared to the games. I do talk about the games a little bit. I do make like the short form content focusing on the games now, because it's easier to do around my own schedule. But yeah, I've been focusing a lot more on the anime, and that's helped me grow the channel and meet all of the amazing people that I have to this day. Yeah.
So I guess then we're talking sort of 5-ish years from beginning to then reach 10,000 subscribers on YouTube, which is a phenomenal achievement, and also just goes to show the hard work that you were putting in over those years to be able to reach that milestone. And yeah, just to circle back to another thing you said there, the sooner we embrace our passions and the things that we truly love, and this is again a theme that comes up time and time again on the podcast, the quicker the path to happiness.
For sure,
seems to
I
be
agree.
The case. Well, that's definitely something I've learnt as well. So now it's time to discover what's going to be Pokemon number 2 on your dream team alongside Charizard.
Okay, so my second Pokemon is going to be Yanmega. So for those of you that don't know, I am part Spanish, and during the summer holidays, I would always go to Spain to visit my family. And we would go to the piscinas, which is known as the swimming pools or the public rivers. And one day I was climbing up some rocks, as you do as a child, you like to explore. And I saw a dragonfly. And my initial look at this creature was like, wow, it's so cool. It's right in front of me. I need to grab it. I want to catch it. Literally, like, catch it like an actual Pokemon. So I grabbed it with my hand, and I ended up getting bitten on my finger. And even though I was upset that I didn't manage to catch it, I was just so blown away about how fascinating the creature was. And during that time, I was playing Pokemon Diamond. Now, when I found out about Yanmega, I was like, oh my gosh, this is a dream come true. One of my favorite insects. I've just had this encounter with a dragonfly. And that summer holiday was probably one of my best as as a child because I was playing Pokemon and I was just embracing the real life creatures around me that Pokemon revolves around. And it's just so fascinating how that came to be one of my favorite Pokemon, because you'd think, oh, it's just a dragonfly and it's not really utilized that much, or it may not be someone's favorite Pokemon because it's just based on an insect. But for me, because I had that personal connection with what happened that day at the swimming pool, and the fact that like I was embracing my Pokemon journey, playing Pokemon Diamond and coming across this Pokemon, that ended up becoming my one of my favorite Pokemon. I nicknamed it Buzz because of the way it sounds, and since that day I've just loved Young Mega, and that's how I like the Pokemon so much.
Yeah, that's fascinating. Yan Mega is, I'm a big fan of the bug type, big fan of dragonflies as well, so it's a fantastic addition to the team here. And it's also really interesting to hear you talk about how your love of animals feeds into your love of Pokemon. Do you have a favourite animal?
Oh, favourite animal. I like lions. I do like lions. I like crocodiles as well. But I'll probably say lions are the bigger one. Okay. The bigger Pokemon that I like the most, yeah.
Very nice. Okay. But it's going to be a Dragonfly Pokemon joining us here. So, Yamaga, welcome to the team. And from there now into your mental health battle and how you nearly abandoned YouTube and Pokemon.
Ooh, yes. So, as I mentioned earlier, I was in a long relationship with my ex-partner. And unfortunately, it didn't go any further. So, we broke up. And during that time, I was heartbroken. I was very upset. And this was during my university studies, and I was thinking to myself, oh my gosh, I'm battling with mental health now, my studies, how am I going to be able to continue my YouTube channel? And during that time, I just felt so upset with myself and depressed that I just couldn't play Pokemon. I couldn't even watch the Pokemon anime because I just felt like, even though it was a good distraction at first, it felt like, oh, if I just watch this, it will help. I didn't want to have to rely on it to make myself better. I wanted to make myself better first my own way and try and come to terms the fact that, oh, this has happened. Build yourself up again, Raf. You'll be okay. So, yeah, because of that experience, it was very hard. But I think it just made me realize as well that sometimes, even though we go through a lot of mental health battles and depression and different things in our life, we always have to make sure that it may be hard, but there is always light at the end of the tunnel. There's so many people around that can help. My friends, my family was so supportive. I even told some of my content creator friends at that time that I met about what happened, and they were all in different time zones and they were all living their own lives, and they were just like, Raf, don't worry, you'll be okay. You've got so much to look forward to. You're going to complete your degree. You've got loads of friends. You go out and play sports. You've got a loving family, and most of all, you've got a YouTube channel that brings you joy and passion every single day. So even though I was on the verge of cancelling my YouTube channel and just leaving it there and giving up on Pokemon because of this situation, I realised that I should stick with it because it does bring me joy and happiness. And the fact that I get to meet so many people, the fact that I get to help people and educate them about certain topics, it warms my heart as well, because I'm a viewer myself. I watch YouTube videos. I see the passion and drive that content creators go through to try and make someone's day happy, even though that they've got their own battles fighting in the background. I wanted to make sure I could set an example for everyone as well. And I remember talking about it briefly on a couple of social networks, and I got loads of support, but then over time I just deleted it because I was like, right, I want to make sure I just don't have to, I don't really owe the world a whole explanation as to why I'm feeling sad, but I wanted to just get it off my chest to say to them, right, this is what's happened. There's going to be no videos for a while. And then I was like, right, I'm going to fight back. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to make sure that next time, God forbid, if something ever happens to me, I just don't overwhelm myself too much. And I'll be honest with you, there was a time where I actually abandoned the channel for a while because I was at university and I was trying to come to terms with my final year. I wanted to get my dream job and I wanted to get the highest grade I could. So I stopped YouTube for a while. And then I was thinking to myself, why did I stop YouTube? Like, I shouldn't be doing this. I should keep going. Of course, there's a balance with real life commitments and personal things going on as well. But it was more about the fact that if I keep doing this on the side, your life can change. You never know what can happen. You can make one video, it could blow up. You can make a video, you could get noticed, and you could speak to someone else and they give you another opportunity. Anything can happen. And that's why I go back to talking about saying, like, don't ever give up on your passions, don't ever give up on your dreams, because where I'm from, sometimes it's hard for people to escape something that they once had and try and get into something new. So I'm incredibly blessed and grateful that I had that YouTube channel in the background, and I feel guilty for abandoning it at that time and just leaving it there to collect dust, because I should show more respect for the fact that I've worked hard to get it to this stage, and I've had so much love and support from everyone. So yeah, it was a bit of a mental battle, to be honest, and for someone that has dealt with mental health before, it was a big eye-opener, because when you've got everything going for you and you're all happy-go-lucky, it's okay. But then one day when you actually like trip on a curb and you fall head first into the road, it's like, wow, it's a reality check. So yeah, I'm grateful that I didn't get rid of it in the end. I mean, I was at a stage in my life where I was like, right, that's it, I'm going to pack it in and stop. And I did stop for a couple of months. But there was noise in the background, and it was good noise. And they were like, you shouldn't give up on this. You will bounce back. Let this be like your antidote to the poison that you're feeling. And yeah, it technically, like, it saved me, mate. It saved me. And I wanted to talk about it on this podcast because I wanted it to be an eye-opener to those that are working on their channels and that have dreams of being a content creator. Even though there are going to be something going on in the background in your personal life, whenever you can make time, even if it's a quick hour a day just to script a video, just do it, because later on it will add up and it will help you. And that's what I tried to do. And thankfully, thanks to God and everything as well, I managed to push out of that dark zone, and just here I am. Yeah.
Thanks so much for sharing that, Ralph. Thank you for your honesty there, and I have no doubt that so many people watching and listening will be taking a lot of strength from that, and wise words for us all to bear in mind. So when you were going through those struggles, how long was it between you? How long was the break that you took? How long did it take you to sort of, first of all, I guess, you know, you were saying how, no, the time will feel right again when I want to do this, but I know for now that I just have to take a break, which seems to me to be just a really mature approach to doing things. But yeah, how long was that initial break?
So the breakup happened in my first year of uni, and I think it was about 3 months that I stopped making content, because I was like, right, I've just started my university degree. I need to crack on. I've got tests to make sure that I can actually pass the modules. So I stopped for about 3 months. And then when it came to second year, I cracked straight back onto it. I was like, right, let me just go full force. Whenever I'm not working on a paper or something, or at a lab or in a lecture, I'll just type on my laptop, and then Google Docs is my savior. Honestly, I could just type it there, and then when I get home, I can go on my phone, I can use that to record. And then at the beginning of third year, I stopped again. That wasn't more for mental health. That was more for the fact that it's my final year. I need to crack on with the exams and everything. And then after I finished all my exams, I just went ham sandwich with it, literally, and just cracked straight on. And yeah, that was it. But there were a couple of months in between. Because I remember I had family come over from Spain, so I wanted to spend time with them. I didn't want to be in my room all the time just recording videos, blah, blah, blah. So there were a couple of months in between throughout those 3 years of university where I was taking breaks. The second time, it didn't really affect me that much, because I'd made a stockpile of videos that I could schedule, and that was okay. But the first time I'd done it, it was pretty dreadful, mate, because I was growing quite quickly, and I think that's what overwhelmed me as well. Like, I had a sudden burst of growth, and I felt like I was just growing too fast. And for someone that works in, like, I work in IT, and even though it's a very fast-paced environment, I always try to pace myself so that I don't feel overwhelmed when I'm dealing with inquiries. And the fact that it felt very similar to that moment in that time with my studies and the growth coming forward then, and I had another job at that time as well, so I'm multitasking between all these different things. How I had the time, only God knows, mate. But it was more about the fact that everything was just piling on top of me, and then I'm like, wow, I need to stop now. I've just gone through a breakup, I've got my degree to work on, focus on the job, come back to YouTube later. And so that was the cycle, and it was very draining, very, very draining. But I managed to pull through, and I'm glad that I did, because I don't regret taking the risk of pausing it for a moment and then coming back to it, because you could just pause and then you'd be like, I don't think it's worth me coming back anymore. but I'm glad I stuck with it. So
yeah. I mean, equally, you know, some people will pause and think, you know what, I've had my time with YouTube and it's time for something else, and that's obviously equally valid. I think that also it's just a very sustainable approach to have breaks sometimes. We need them. It's vital. So thanks so much for sharing that wisdom with us, Raph. And now it's time to introduce what's going to be Pokemon number 3 on your Dream Team.
Pokemon number 3, okie dokie. So we're going to go with Grimmsnarl. Quite a late addition in the Pokemon franchise, but I'll be very basic with this one. The only reason I like Grimmsnarl is because it looks cool. And when I was playing Pokemon Sword and Shield, I just had to get one on my team. I just absolutely love the design. I love the way it uses its signature moves, and it just looks like an actual beast. It's scary, it's terrifying, but cool. It's got a bit of everything. And I know Marnie has one in the Pokemon anime, and it wasn't really her that kind of influenced me to actually like this Pokemon. It was more about the fact that when I first saw it revealed and its Gigantamax form, I was like, wow. It reminded me of Obelisk the Tormentor from Yu-Gi-Oh! Completely different franchise, but it's just the way it towers over everyone, and it just looks so menacing, and like you could even think it's like powerful with Thanos in one way, but yeah, that was the main reason. I just think it looks so cool, and yeah, that's the most basic answer I know, and I apologize if it is, but I just really like its design, and I think it's just a really cool Pokemon. Yeah.
No, I think that you know, the Pokemon that stick with us the most are the ones that immediately jump out to us for sometimes a completely indefinable reason. But you know, whether it's a basic reason or a complicated reason, it all floats here. So we got Charizard, Yanmega, and Grimmsnarl, and we'll spirit break from there now into attending Worlds 2022 in London.
Okay, so this was the first World Championships I went to. I'm so glad that Pokemon hosted it in London, the home city, in the Excel Centre, and it was probably one of the best events I've been to, because there was a load of different things that amalgamated together to make this experience special. First of all, I got to reunite with loads of different friends from around the world. I got to go to this huge tournament and just experience Pokemon in a completely different manner, especially compared to when I've gone to like EUIC. Going to the World Championships in London was just like, wow, this is just... It's huge. It's like there's so much going on. I get to go and see so many different events, take part in so many different activities. During that time, I hit an incredible milestone on YouTube, and it was just a really good year. And it opened my eyes a little bit more for me to appreciate being a Pokemon fan, because it's all good talking about things on the internet and playing the games or collecting cards, but when you actually go to these events, when you actually embrace the franchise that you love a lot, it makes you look at it in a completely different manner. And I was just so blown away by how many Pokemon fans have travelled all around the world to compete in all these different competitions, all of the different casters, all of the different content creators that I got to meet along the way. I didn't go as a creator for this event. I just went as a spectator, because I just wanted to see what it was like. I just wanted to go into the Excel Centre, see all of these people come down, go into one of the entries, and just embrace everything around me. And it was just such an incredible experience. I got to meet who did I meet? See, this is the thing, I got to meet so many Pokemon creators, and I got to meet the director of Pokemon, of course, signed poster. There was a moment where I was actually featured on one of the live streams. I remember I was just looking at the main stage for the finals for VGC. I turned my head and I was wait a second. I went on YouTube and I looked at the live stream in real time as well. And I turned my head and I started waving. And then I had a couple people start messaging me saying, Raph, you're on the stream. And I was like, wow, oh my gosh, it was just such an amazing moment. And yeah, it was one of those trips that really made me appreciate being a content creator as well, because working up from nothing to building a very supportive community, having people approach me. Like, I was just walking one time, I remember, I think it was to one of the noodle shops in the Excel Centre, and I just had 4 young gentlemen come up to me and say, oh my god, are you the PokéRaf? Are you the PokéRaf? Because at the front of my badge I had my name as the PokéRaf, and I was like, yeah, it's me. It's like, oh my god, we've travelled all the way from Sheffield to come and see you. I was tweeting you, and back then I was very guilty for ignoring their tweets, and I was just like, oh my god, I'm so sorry that I ignored your tweets, and I'm so grateful that you managed to come up to me. And that really warmed my heart. It really warmed my heart, because it just goes to show that even though they came here for the competition and was keen to meet me, I was just happy that I managed to have that interaction. I was happy that I managed to have a conversation with them, talking about some of my videos, giving me feedback, which I always welcome. Also talking about what they love about the Pokemon franchise. I'm so for that, and it's just amazing that Pokemon managed to bring me into this space, meet all of these amazing people, embrace all of the activities around me, and yeah, it was just such a wonderful event. Seeing the big Pikachu, watching Pokemon Legends Arceus, the Pokemon Journey series outside on the big screen, talking to people, trading cards. It's just such a magical event, mate, and I'm so glad that I managed to go to it, especially in my home city. It was just phenomenal. It was really phenomenal.
Definitely, yeah. As I mentioned at the beginning, I also was at that World Championships in London 2022, also as a spectator, and I think it's hard for people who have never attended an event like this to appreciate the scale we're talking about and the production value, and just how much of a big deal it is, and the fact that it was able to connect you to so many people who you had met before, people you hadn't met before, people who you'd never heard of before, fans of yours coming up to you. It's I'm sure it was just sort of the culmination of so much hard work and passion, and I've no doubt that it felt absolutely incredible.
It felt incredible, also overwhelming, because I was thinking to myself, I've come here to attend an event. I wasn't expecting anybody to come up to me, because at that time, even though I had a very decent audience size, it's not as big as some of these other content creators in the space. And the fact that people came up to me, wanted to take photos with me, and I was just like, oh my gosh, what the heck? I'm from London, and the fact that I've grown from this to this, and now I've got people wanting me to sign their shirts and take photos with it. I was just like, I never would have thought this would happen. It all started with my first video talking about the XY games and how I thought Sylveon was going to be a flying type Pokemon, and that video haunts me to this day because it's such a ridiculous video and how I made it, but that's how it happened, mate. Everyone noticed that video and it's like, oh, I bet he regrets it now, it's a fairy type Pokemon, blah blah blah. And I'm just like, wow, it's crazy how things have changed, and I'm forever grateful for it. Honestly, I'm forever grateful, because there's a lot of different content creators from different geographics, and the fact that I've been able to be in the position that I am today, thanks to everybody supporting me and giving me a chance to watch my videos as well. Ultimately, it is crazy how it changed, and it's just a really cool experience. It's really cool.
Yeah, 100%. Well, we'll moonblast now from there into what's going to be the fourth Pokemon joining into your dream team alongside Charizard, Anaheim Mega, and Grimmsnarl.
Cool, so the fourth Pokemon is going to be Metagross. Now, there's a couple of reasons why I like Metagross. The first encounter I ever had with Metagross was when I was playing the Gen 3 games. I came across Steven, I got the Beldum, and I evolved it into Metagross. I was like, wow, this Pokemon looks tough. Like, it's seriously built. Like, it looks big. I was like, wow. I couldn't believe its design at first. But then my passion really went towards Steven's Metagross in the Pokemon XY anime. When I saw the Mega Evolution, I was just like, oh my gosh, this guy looks phenomenal. He looks ready to mash up anything that comes in his way. He's ready to destroy any opponents, and on top of it, he looks like a beast. So I shiny hunted for a shiny Beldum. I got a shiny Beldum in Oras, and I nicknamed it Goldie simply because of the gold cross on it, even though it's silver and gold. And that was my my Metagross. That was my passion for Metagross. Even though Metagross has always been a cool looking pseudo legendary Pokemon, it's more about the fact that I came across it in the most random way in Mos Deep Sea, and then later on I'm reunited with it in Oras, and I was like, right, I'm going to shiny hunt for it. It took me ages to shiny hunt it. Oh my gosh, I can't even recall. I'm going to check when I get back, I'm going to have a look at my Omega Ruby save file and just reminisce over that. But yeah, it will be Metagross.
Very nice. I'm assuming it's going to be shiny Metagross specifically joining the
Shiny Metagross. Goldie the shiny Metagross. That's right, yes.
Goldie the shiny Metagross. Correct. And for anyone unfamiliar, shiny Pokemon, vanishingly rare, alternately coloured forms of Pokemon that sparkle on encounter, and they're no different from other Pokemon. Just that coloration, and that, just because they're so rare, makes them so highly prized. And Oras, Omega Ruby, and Alpha Sapphire, the remakes of the Generation 3 Pokemon game. So Goldie the shiny Metagross, welcome to our Dream Team. Right, now we will bullet punch into how Pokemon Journeys changed your life during the pandemic.
Oh, mate. Okay, so prior to that, the Pokemon anime was hitting its peak with X and Y. Don't get me wrong, Pokemon anime, peak overall. I'm so biased. I do apologize for those that haven't watched Pokemon anime, but that's just my opinion. And there are so many incredible episodes, so many incredible seasons. But when Pokemon Journeys came along, that's where it pretty much changed my life and the channel. So I remember I was browsing on Twitter one day, and there was this merchandise set that revealed the Pokemon, or it's called Pocket Monsters 2019, the Japanese name back at that time. And they were showing off some Mon Collie figurines, which are basically merchandise figurines that get revealed to coincide with events that happen in the Pokemon anime, or the generation of the Pokemon that's released at that time, which was Sword and Shield. So I was like, you know what? I want to make a theory. I want to think about Ash leaving Alola, going on a regional adventure across different regions, and maybe he could catch certain Pokemon. Now, the two Pokemon on the list were Lucario and Grookey. So I made a speculation video about that. I wasn't hoping it to do well or anything. I just wanted to talk about it because as someone that has speculation videos on my channel and theories, I just like to talk and just open up the floor for discussions to see if this could come true. So I made that video, and then I went to bed, and bro, like, honestly, I couldn't believe it. I woke up the next day and it had 60,000 views. And I was just thinking to myself, what the heck has happened here? I was looking at the comments. People were like, oh my God, Ash getting Lucario makes sense because he knows Aura and he knows Sir Aaron. He's Wave Guidance. He's met Riolu loads of times. Getting a Grookey would be such a cool Pokemon. He can evolve it into Rillaboom. And that was just... I was gobsmacked. I literally messaged my friends and I was like, look what's happened here. What do I do? Do I continue? Do I just be like, okay, I've just made this video? And I was like, you know what? No, I'm going to continue, bro. I'm going to keep going because I like talking about the anime. The new anime series has just started. There's bound to be so many revelations and groundbreaking moments as we've seen from Pokemon Journeys. I'll try not to spoil it too much for those that haven't watched it. But yeah, that kickstarted it. And during the pandemic... I was working from home. I wasn't made furlough or anything, but so I was working from home, and I was cracking out 5 videos a day. I was editing them, recording them, and everything because during the time at home, when there wasn't a busy period, I was just like, right, I'm gonna get my laptop in the background. I'm gonna click, stand up, record, blah blah blah. So I had these videos pre-ready, and I remember making a video about Gengar because there was a new merchandise set that came out for Gengar, and as we know, Ash ended up catching a Gengar with an alternate coloration. Gosh, I can't even say my words today. An alternate coloration of its usual state, and that video done amazing as well. And I was like, you know what? This was actually such a cool way to mesh the idea of theory and speculation, but also talking about the new anime series that has just been revealed at a crazy time in the world. And I was thinking, you know what? I want to try my best to keep this going. I want to open up the floor for discussion. I want to see what people have to say, and I had such a good time doing it. I was making these videos. I didn't actually feel burnt out because I was structuring myself to make sure that in the week, okay, let's make sure I can get all these videos done. There was a period of time where I was like, right, I actually definitely need to stop making 5 videos a day because I am going to get burnt out eventually, and I just focused on making about 2 a week instead. But that's when more episodes progressed. And then the next one was about Ash catching Dragonite. And I was just thinking to myself, oh my gosh, like, am I going to have to keep going? Like, literally, what's going to happen? And there was one period of time where there was a Mon Collie figurine set that showed Infernape. And I was like, surely not. Surely not they're going to bring back Ash's Infernape. I made the video. Ash's Infernape got revealed. Gary came back. He's going to encounter Moltres. And I was just thinking to myself, oh my gosh, people are going to be thinking that I've got like inside information. And there were some people that did think that. I remember I was on Reddit, and they were like, how does this guy keep predicting everything? Don't get me wrong, I wasn't predicting everything on the ball. I'll probably say a solid 8 times out of 10 there was some videos that I was making and people were thinking that I had inside information. And hand on heart, prior to that time, I was like, wow, I'm just making theories. I'm just saying, what if Ash actually returned? Look, I'm even doing it in the YouTube voice now. But yeah, that changed my life, and I doubled my sub count during that pandemic, and I was just blown away by the support, and I was collaborating with so many creators talking about this new series because we've all come from the era of, I grew up during the original series, so I've seen Ash's journey develop from the original series to Advanced Generation, and then seeing him in Journeys now travel around, meet all these different trainers in the World Coronation series, the World Championship series, reunite with old companions, and just have so many incredible captures, I was thinking to myself, wow, Journeys really did break the trend. He got his first fossil Pokemon, he got a first Galarian, he got a variant Pokemon, he caught a Dragonite, he actually got a Lucario with a Mega Evolution, he caught a Gengar, and it was just mind-blowing. And that really, really changed my life as well, because I had people come up to me asking me to be on certain events for them, and like podcasts, and be a knowledge point. And at that point I was feeling a bit overwhelmed, because I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know every single thing about the anime. I know bits and bobs, but I was trying my best to help you, because that's what I like doing. I like helping people. I've still got friends to this day saying, oh, Raf, did Ash ever catch a Kabuto in the end? I was like, no, he didn't get that Pokemon. But they come up to me and they ask me questions about the anime, and that's really nice. I like having these discussions as well. But yeah, Pokemon Journeys really did change everything, and it was just mind-blowing. Obviously, the pandemic was one of the worst things to come out in the world, and it's unfortunate for what happened there. But in that period of time, that's where I managed to thrive the most. And I do feel partially guilty, because there's people around the world that are going through this situation, and I'm at home making videos. But at the same time, I felt happy because I was able to entertain children that are at school, or students, and just people in general. And I got a lot of positive feedback, and I managed to double my sub count, like I mentioned. So yeah, that was a big game changer for me, and I wanted to make sure that I could continue that passion even after Ash left, by talking about different things as well, for what if could have happened in Pokemon Journeys, for example, because that series really did cement a crazy foundation for my channel, and it just helped it grow so much and open up loads of opportunities and experiences. So yeah.
And pave the way for your potentially psychic powers. That's really fascinating.
Yeah, partially. Yeah, honestly, I'm still mind blown by it. But yeah. My predictions nowadays aren't that accurate, unfortunately. But oh well, it is what it is.
Wow. Yeah. Well, fascinating. Thank you for that, Raf. And now it's time to introduce what's going to be Pokemon number 5 on your dream team, alongside Charizard, Yanmega, Grimmsnarl, and Goldie the Shiny Metagross.
So, my next Pokemon is going to be Gastrodon, and I'm going to be very, very cheeky here, and I'm just going to see if you can allow me on this one. It will be both forms combined together, but it would be just Gastrodon the Pokemon, and I've got a perfect reason for this. This might be my wild card. Viewers, don't come after me that much. I get a little exception here. Charlie's got my back. So, basically... So, Harry Potter, the Chamber of Secrets. There's a part of the film where Ron tries to defend Hermione and Harry from Malfoy, and he says the spell "eat slugs." Now, there was one time on Twitter where I was having a joke around with my friend, and we were going back and forth, and in response to that, I said "eat slugs," and I responded with the Shellos gif as something that would interpret that. And then later on, I don't know what happened. I honestly don't know what happened, but the community just started using "eat slugs" with a kiss at the end of it, because I'd done it as a joke. So I'll eat slugs and then like a little kiss X at the end of it as a joke. That might be a British humour thing for those that can relate to it. So I started saying "eat slugs" and using Gastrodon and Shellos as like a gift to add to that. And over time, the amount of people that would respond to me saying "eat slugs," they would call me Slug Lord. And it was just something so ridiculous that ended up evolving into something so wholesome. And Gastrodon is a cool Pokemon. I like it how it was in the anime under Paul's team and every other episode that it's featured in. But I never really gave too much of an interest in the Pokemon until like this meme kind of kicked off a little bit. But it was more about the fact that I just said it as like a return insult to someone, and it ended up turning into something wholesome. So I ended up using Gastrodon on my team when BDSP came out, and I nicknamed it Sluggy. And you might notice on my channel banner now, I've got 2 Gastrodon there. They help me promote my videos when I do new videos and new content in general. And yeah, it has to be Gastrodon. Gastrodon was just something out of the ordinary, and I liked how it kind of quote-unquote evolved into something very wholesome as well.
East Sea and West Sea Gastrodon joining the team, and for a reason that I would never have predicted, so thank you very much for that. Before we round out this dream team, let's muddy water from there now into the World Championships 2025 in Anaheim and Rocket Radio.
Wow, okay, so I'll start with the Rocket Radio segment. So Rocket Radio is a podcast group that I'm with a bunch of other content creators, my closest friends. We've got Zach Toshi, also known as Lumious Trainer Zach, John Pokemon Trainer 98 JPR, Hybrid Hero, and Infamous Trainer. So myself and Zach, we used to be part of a group before, a podcast group, but we ended up cancelling that podcast group, and we decided that let's see what we could do with our other close friends to see if we can form something different and bigger. So Zach is the captain of the podcast and I'm a co-host with the other fellow chaps, and we decided to create the Champion League, which was a weekly podcast where we talk about all things Pokemon and also IRL topics. And it could be, if someone submitted a question to us, then we can help them through it. Like, we even had a Valentine's Day podcast, and we're giving out quote unquote relationship advice and just talking about so many bizarre things, and it was wholesome. We're doing food restaurant tier lists, our favorite Pokemon, will Ash win the world championships, etc, etc. And then what we decided to do was rebrand it to the Rocket Radio, because initially one of the members was going to leave. So we played a prank with the community saying, right, the podcast is done, blah, blah, blah. And then at the end of it, we played the Team Rocket symbol to show that, oh, Team Rocket's going to be taking over. What's happened to the podcast? And then we reformed it as Rocket Radio with the four of us. And funnily enough, our old co-host, he ended up rejoining us as well, so he's back in there, and which is nice. It's funny at the same time, he's like, oh guys, I don't think I'm going to be able to commit to this anymore. I've got to do traveling, and I've got a job and volunteering activities, blah blah blah. I'm like, no worries, bro, you do you, life happens. And then the next couple of months, he's like, oh guys, I think I'm going to come back now. Yeah, I've got time, I'm going to do this again. And it was nice because I'm glad that he joined back again. And then Worlds 2025 last year, probably my best event, honestly, man. I cannot tell you how special that event was. It was more of the fact that, unfortunately, one of our co-hosts couldn't make that trip, but we managed to come together as a group. Pokemon recognised our work, and we were able to host a meet and greet, meet so many viewers and supporters from all around the world. That event was just mind-boggling. Honestly, it was just incredible. The fact that I got the opportunity to travel from the UK to get a creator badge and attend that event, I was thinking, oh my gosh, I didn't know how things worked in different regions across the world for Pokemon. I was thinking, oh, I'm from the UK, I don't think I'm going to get a chance. But I was one of the few UK creators to be able to fly out there and get this badge and take part in all these different activities and be involved in so many different events. And I was just like, wow, I'm so grateful and so blessed that I managed to go there, and also with some of my closest friends, because it felt like it was we felt like we made it. We felt like, oh, we've been talking about Pokemon for ages. We've tried our best to see what we could do to help others, and Pokemon recognized that, and they were like, right, come to our event as a creator. And that was so special. I managed to play Pokemon Legends EA early. I participated in the first TCG Pocket Side event, which I placed 39th. And I was just like, wow, I don't normally compete. I gave up with competitive gaming a long time ago. And the fact that I've got my mobile phone here trying to play a Pokemon TCG card game against all these different people around the world. And that event was very special to me, because I remember coming up against an opponent and he saw my badge and he started freaking out. And I was like, are you okay? Are you all right? Do you need some water or anything? He's like, oh my god. And I was like, whoa, what's wrong? He's like, you're the Pokéraf. I'm battling you. Oh my gosh, I can't believe this. You're in front of me. And I was like, whoa, I've flown from the UK, bro. I've just come here to have fun. And the fact he was such a wonderful gentleman. And it was just amazing. And I also managed to meet people from Japan. And I was like, oh my god, this is just so lovely. I'm meeting all these people. I'm getting to talk to them at the event. I took part in the pin collection rally, which was fun. I got to see all of these different competitive battles. My friend Zatoshi also took part in the Gotta Catch 'Em All competition game show, and he won that, and I was able to witness that in real time. And it was just so special, man. It was just such an amazing event, and I felt like I'd hit one of the peak moments in my content creation career. I got to meet so many different creators that day. I remember going up to one of the spaces where creators were mingling about, and I was just looking like, oh my gosh, I watch all these guys, and I'm like, now I'm in front of them, and it's like, wow, it's so amazing, and they're so welcoming. They're like, oh, you know how it feels now to do content, blah blah blah, well done for getting to this, blah blah blah, keep up the good work, just very welcoming people. I got to meet so many special creators out there, and I'm very grateful for it. I've managed to keep those friendships and make new memories with them as well, and it just opens up so much more. You get to express your love for Pokemon. And I think being from the UK, it felt like I leveled up a bit, because I went to Worlds in London, and then the fact that I managed to get a creator badge to go to Worlds in a completely different country, and the fact Pokemon recognised that and recognised my work, and the stuff that I talk about with the anime and just my channel in general, I just felt so honoured. Like, for a franchise that I've grown up, crying my eyes out from day one to being able to go all the way there, I'm so blessed. And like, obviously it's all thanks to God's plan and his work as well, but it's more about the fact that I'm just really, really grateful, really grateful that I managed to experience that, because it was amazing that we got to see the brand new the stadium, the finals in the stadium, which was incredible. We got the reveal to Pokemon XP, all of the new TCG downloadable content. The ZA ranked battles was first revealed on the screen, and I'm so glad I managed to embrace that and see my friends there as well. So yeah, that was probably the best event so far.
How wonderful. And hopefully the sign, and I'm sure the sign of fantastic things to come as well.
Yes,
thanks for sharing that.
Fingers crossed, yeah.
And now it's time to round out this dream team. So who's going to be Pokemon number 6?
Okay. So my last Pokemon is going to be Dust Lycanroc. And of course, I know that is an exclusive Pokemon to Ash, but again, it kind of revolves around a little bit to do with content creation. So I remember when the preview for the episode first got revealed in Japan, and I was watching it, and the preview showed Ash's Rockruff with his eyes glowing green, and I was thinking to myself, oh my gosh, something special is going to happen to this Pokemon. I have to talk about it. And during that time, we were getting the Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon event, and they were going to be revealing a new Pokemon. So I was like, right, let's see how these two merge together. And then Dust Lycanroc came about, and I was just like, this is the coolest doggo I've ever seen in my life. He's such a good boy, and the way he performed in the Alola League, well, the Malahala Conference, and helped Ash become a champion. Oh god, I don't know. I'm super biased when it comes to this Pokemon, because I just think it looks really cool. And don't get me wrong, Lycanroc's other forms, the Midday and Midnight, they're crisp. They're really crisp. But the fact that this Pokemon managed to amalgamate both of its designs and followed like the midnight, the dusk sunset sort of theme, and have like this cool shards coming about his neck, and then a long shard on top, like hybrid of the other the Lycanroc forms. It was just really cool, and I just wanted it on my team. So as soon as that event came out, and as soon as I was able to get that Pokemon, I had it on my team. And seeing Ash's Pokemon itself grow from someone that was very stubborn and always trying to be the bigger dog in battle, even though it couldn't defeat its rivals, and then later on coming to terms with its berserk form and controlling its emotions to then later on help Ash reach that status as Alola champion. I was just like, you know what, this Pokemon's had a really good time, and it's a really good arc, and I'm so glad that I got to see it grow in real time as well, because that's when the Sun and Moon anime was airing, and I was watching all of the episodes and covering all of the information to do with that. And when I got my own Dust Lycanroc, I was like, right, I'm sorted. That's it. I'm good to go. So yeah, that's my little dog on my team.
And such a special journey you went on with it as well. Dusk Lycanroc rounding out the team. Fantastic. Well, this means that overall, Raph, your complete dream team is Charizard, Yanmega, Grimmsnarl, Goldie the Shiny Metagross, both Gastrodon, Dusk Lycanroc. So, really fascinating reasonings behind all of your Pokemon here, such passion. And now I have to ask you, if you were to choose one of these to be your partner Pokemon, which would it be?
I'll straight up Charizard. That's my boy, my day one. Biased as heck, but that's my go right there. A lot of personal connections, a lot of personal memories with that Pokemon growing up as a child. Seeing it grow in the anime too just made me fall in love with how it can develop into such a cool Pokemon, and it's just my favorite. The Mega Charizard X form, I can't get over it. Like, I was even playing the ranked battles today to unlock the Mega Sceptile, Mega Stone in ZA, and I was coming across so many Mega Charizard X's, and I was just like, I feel bad for having to take these guys out, but you know what, it has to be done. And yeah, it's my favorite. It's my favorite Pokemon. That would be my partner. Yeah.
Wonderful. And now a slightly different kind of question for you, Raph. Of everything we've heard about you up to now, everything you know about yourself, which Pokemon do you think you would be most likely to be?
Ooh, wow, that's a good question. I think the Pokemon are most likely to be would have to be. Oh my gosh, you got me thinking now. I'm probably going to have to say. I'm probably going to say Hitmonlee, actually. Hitmonlee. And it's quite an interesting pick. Growing up, I'd done martial arts. I took part in karate, and I got up to a very high level. And Bruce Lee was a very big inspiration to me. One of the main drives that wanted me to participate in martial arts and learn karate. I also watched the Karate Kid films, and I'll be honest with you, back in that time as well, there was unfortunate times where I would get bullied and I wanted to be able to defend myself. So I think Hitmonlee would be a good representation of that, because it shows that I've gone through all of that martial arts era. It's a cool looking Pokemon, you know, it likes to kick about and, you know, show how cool it is when it's fighting as well. And I think that would be just a pretty decent representation to show off my martial arts journey. Unfortunately, I don't really commit to martial arts that much anymore. But during that period of time when I was growing up, learning martial arts and getting my different karate belts and growing in the stages and also embracing Pokemon at the same time, I'd probably say that'd be the best Pokemon to akin to that, yeah.
Absolutely wonderful. Yeah, well, thank you very much for sharing that. What do you all think? Do you agree that of all the Pokemon there are, Raph would be a Hitmonlee? We would be fascinated to hear, so let us know in the comments. And speaking of you all, it's time for your community questions. I posted online, as I always do, asking for questions for my guests. Thank you so much for submitting them. I apologise I won't be able to feature all of them, and if I mispronounce any of your names or handles. But to kick things off, Alola champion Andre42 would like to know, who is your favourite character in the Pokemon anime?
Okay, I'm going to say, even though, okay, it is Ash Ketchum, but I feel like that's very basic, so I'm going to choose a different character, and it's actually going to be Bonnie from the XY series. So Bonnie is a very interesting character. Bonnie is Clement's younger sister, and even though she doesn't really have any Pokemon on her team, she doesn't have a goal, she does have a lot of heart. And over the course of the XY series, she learned to help Pokemon. She learned to befriend Pokemon when they needed something. And I think the biggest catalyst for all of this would be where she befriended Squishy, Punichan, the Zygarde core, helped it come to its senses for when it ended up getting manipulated by Lysander and Team Flare, and just looking after the generic Pokemon. She came across this little green blob, and you'd think a young girl like her would be like scared to look at something like that, but then instead she was like, no, I'm going to look after it. It's my little baby now in my pouch with the Dedenne. And I really like her character, because even though she always keeps her brother in check as well, she's actually quite mature. She's got a lot of thinking behind her in terms of how certain situations could have gone down in the Pokemon anime. She looks after Pokemon as well, shows she's got a big heart. And the fact that she managed to befriend a legendary Pokemon and kind of command it in the final battle, telling it to use Core Enforcer in one way, I was just like, wow, man, like, she's a good character. And when she returned in Pokemon Journeys, she continued that cool character, being a very good companion to Ash. And she's just funny, man. She's just a funny little girl like that likes to literally keep her brother in check every time he talks about his scientific inventions, and every time he's trying to maybe romance some female character, and she's like, yeah, you're not going to get anywhere. And even though she tries to influence these characters to be with her brother, it's just so funny how it's always back and forth between them two. But I think she was a great companion for Ash, and she's probably my second favourite character, because I grew up watching her in the series, and the way she was out her story, and even with her own character arc at the very end where Dedenne was feeling upset about saying goodbye to everyone, she motivated the Pokemon, saying, we're always going to be together, we're always going to experience new things together, we will reunite. And that's something that happens in life as well. It's like when I say goodbye to my friends at the different conventions, we'll always meet each other again, we'll always stay in contact. We just have to appreciate the moments and the time that we have together in real time. And it was a bit of an eye-opener. It was very, very, very real, definitely, for an episode like that. So I think she's a good character. She's a cool character.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you very much for that reasoning, and thank you for that question. Now, next question here from Shimmery Kayla Ace. What's your favourite non-Pokemon anime or series?
My favourite non-Pokemon anime series probably has to be... there's a couple of them. I do like Demon Slayer. Demon Slayer is very cool. Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood was a very, very good recommendation from the boys. I like that as well. But I think the other series that would probably top it would have to be Beyblade. I loved Beyblade. I grew up with Beyblade, watching the OG series. I collected all of them. I've even got some of them now in my house. And I recently started a rewatch of Beyblade 2, and I just felt so much nostalgia looking at this old fan art, seeing Tyson and the Blade Breakers go through their journey and how they developed with their Beyblades and met friends and came over the towers of everything that happened with Tala and stuff. And it was just like, wow, it's just so cool. And you'd think spinning tops would be very basic, you know, you just spin it and then that's it stops spinning as well. But the fact that the anime managed to keep it going consistently, and all of these different bit pieces and story arcs with characters leaving and then coming back and then developing, I thought it was a really cool series. So I'll probably say Beyblade is my second series.
Thank you for that question. And our final question from Byrus Thing. Again, I apologize for any mispronunciation. What is your favorite Pokemon generation?
Pokemon generation. Ooh, okay. So gosh, this is a tricky one because my favorite generation growing up was Gen 4. I played all the Gen 4 games. However, when X and Y came out with Gen 6, that kind of topped over it. Oh gosh, it's such a hard question. I'm going to say, I'm probably going to have to say Gen 6. I'm going to say Gen 6. Yeah, I'm going to say Gen 6. I'm going to say Gen 6. Simply because of how I started my YouTube content, my YouTube channel in that time, and it was just such a peak era of Pokemon. All of the new innovations, all of the new Pokemon, the story, and I felt like Pokemon literally leveled up that year when it revealed these games, because it was just something so different. And we saw how the Pokemon games developed from the 2D sprites to the 3D models, and even the jump from the Gen 4 games to the Unova games in Gen 5. I was like, wow, this is a big jump. There's such detail that they've changed. And then to see it level up even more in Gen 6, it'll have to be that. Yeah, I'll probably say Gen 6, definitely.
Really interesting.
Anime as well.
Really ties in so well with the story that you told us earlier as well, how Gen 6 really leveled things up for you. So thank you for all of your questions there. If you'd like to submit a question for a future guest on Chazingdra Chats, you can find my socials at Chazingdra, X, Blue Sky, Instagram, TikTok, and of course on YouTube. That's where I post the call outs for questions. I would love to hear what you'd love to hear. All right then, Raf, so we've heard a lot about you up to now, but what's next for you?
So what's next? Well, it's a new year. There's new goals, new ambitions. I learned a lot last year on how I can come out of my comfort zone and basically go back to the 2013 Raf. So back then in 2013, I was doing games and anime, and then as years went by, I focused more on the anime. But now I am going to try and dive into the Pokemon games a little bit, because I've made some different videos and it's been very fun. I just felt so engaged with making content, even though it's fun to make content that I already do about the anime. I just wanted to keep pushing forward with all of that. I'm going to try and do my best to cover a lot more about the games and the anime, and I'm just going to go with the flow, because at the end of the day, everything's unprecedented and you don't know what could happen. I just want to go in with an open mind, just focus on these goals and see where it gets me, because at the end of the day, that's what I done with my YouTube channel. I made one video, I just went through it and see how it went, and I'm managing to thankfully keep it going. So I'm just going to keep trying to do that. I am going to be doing a lot more IRL content now as well, when it comes to like face cam and stuff, because I've had a lot of content creators and a lot of viewers say, oh Raf, you make all these videos, but it would be nice to put a mic to face to see what you actually look like. And I actually did used to do a lot of face cam content back in the day, but I think as time went by, for the type of content that I used to make, I just used to focus on proper editing and that was it. But I'm going to start doing a lot more face cam content, because I think it's very engaging as well, and it's fun. I was recording all these different shorts and reels the other day, and I had a lot of fun looking at my camera and having my little setup in the background, and it's something different as well, something that I haven't been doing as regularly. So yeah, I think I'm just going to keep going with the anime. I've got a lot of exciting projects to come from this. Of course, the main thing to do is just have fun, just go with the flow, see where it takes me. At the end of the day, we can keep going down the road, but you never know when you're gonna have to go either left or right. And I'm not thinking about it too much. I'm just gonna keep going forward, see what it can do, and hopefully just continue to help those with watching my videos and educating people if needed. Yeah.
Very exciting, and wish you all the very best for those plans. But now, Raf, looking back from now as a successful Pokemon content creator all the way back to the young Raf who was just enamoured with seeing Charizard on their cover of Pokemon Red, what advice would you give to that younger you?
Definitely not to care too much about what people think of you. At the end of the day, if you've got a passion for something, if you want to go forward with something, if you have that drive to complete something, then just go for it. Because like I mentioned back in the day, I used to be very worried about making Pokemon content. I used to get bullied for liking Pokemon. I remember when I started secondary school, my first day, I said, we had to go around the table and talk about one of our interests. I said I liked Pokemon, and people would laugh at me. And of course you'd think, okay, you're going into secondary school, you're getting a bit older now, but that's just something I grew up with and I had a passion for. So my best advice I give to myself and to others is just definitely focus on what makes you happy. Do what you want to do. If it makes you happy, it could inspire others. It could actually give them the fuel to actually come away from their fears and actually do the same. Because I've had a couple of individuals that have come up to me saying, thank you so much for talking about Pokemon. I was worried about talking about it with my friends, but now I've gotten the confidence to do that. And that warms my heart because I can relate to it a lot, especially during the times when I was younger. So, yeah, my best advice is just don't give up on your dreams. If you have a passion for something, do it. And don't regret anything. Take that risk because you never know how things can change. And especially if you've got a lot of passion for a franchise, a video game, a sport, anything it may be, just do it and see how things unfold from there. You don't know until you try. If you try and it doesn't work, that's fine. At least you did try. You can learn from it and maybe try again. But yeah, just don't worry too much about what people have to say about you. Let them have their own opinions. You've got your own opinions, and just crack on and just have a fun time, man. Just have a fun time. That's all I can say.
Very inspiring words indeed. And again, something that comes out time and time again in the podcast. Thank you so much for that. And now, very shortly, we'll be getting into PokéRaf's Rapidash rounds. 15 or so minutes of bonus questions that Raf has not prepared for. And as with all of my guests, there's so much more I want to take a deeper dive into. Raf's hopes for the anime. What advice would Raf give to aspiring creators? What does Raf enjoy beyond Pokemon and gaming in general and anime? If you want to hang out with me and Raf for a little bit longer, you can become a YouTube channel member or sign up for my Patreon or buy the Rapidash rounds individually over there. And becoming a YouTube channel member gets you other perks as well. Fundamentally, really appreciate the fact that you've listened to or watched this episode in its entirety, but if you want to get to know Raf that little bit better, then those options are available to you. The links will be below. But for now, Raf, thank you so much again for joining me on Chazingdra Chats. It's been wonderful to be able to finally hang out, and thank you for your time.
Definitely. Thank you so much for having me. And for those that have come from my channel, be sure to support Chazingdra. Absolutely incredible. Really enjoyed being here today, and thank you so much for the opportunity.
Oh, that's very kind of you, Raf. No, it's been wonderful to talk to you. And if people want to catch up with you online, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter at ThePokéraf, the same as my YouTube handle. My Instagram is ThePokérafYT, and TikTok is ThePokéraf as well. I try my best to post daily content on those other platforms. However, yeah, that's all my socials, and looking forward to see you there. Let's talk about the anime. Let's see what happens.
Yeah. Make sure you're checking that out. And everybody, once more, if you've enjoyed, please do like the video and subscribe to the channel. It would mean a huge amount, and it goes such a long way as well. Drop a comment, because Raf, as with all my guests, has given us so much food for thought. And there are, as I say, approaching 90 episodes of this podcast now with a broad range of creators, not just creators about the anime, but competitive creators, shiny hunters, more casual Pokemon players. There's bound to be an episode for everyone. You can use the hashtag 6Pokemon1Lifestory to spread the word about the show. And there's plenty more content on my channel as well. Documentaries about the events that I commentate as a caster for the Pokemon Video Game Championship Series, as well as streams covering all kinds of challenges in the Pokemon game and beyond. I'm at Chazingdra across all socials, including on YouTube. And my Discord community is linked below, and my email is linked below as well if you want to get in touch. And with that being said, Raf, it's time to get into your Rapidash round. So if you're not joining us as a YouTube channel member or on Patreon for that, then it's goodbye from Raf and it's goodbye from me. See you next time on Chazingdra Chats, where there'll be another 6 Pokemon, 1 life story. And Raf, how are you feeling about these bonus questions?
I'm ready. I'm going to have a quick sip of water again.
Yeah, you can do that.
Just to charge myself up for the fire that's coming my way. Hopefully cool it down a bit. But yeah, let's see what we can do. Go for it.
Alrighty, so we'll kick things off with what are your hopes for the Pokemon anime?
Oh gosh, I could be here for hours, man. So